first of all, I want to ask you, what can we expect at the typical ELO concert? What can the audience expect?
Well, this project is based around the greatest hits. In the past, there have been times where other material has come in, material from, well, sometimes from the Beatles and some from ELO Part 2, but this is the greatest hits of the songs that people wouldn't, the classic old ELO songs.
All your hits.
And for numerous years you did not tour. How did you decide to come back again, tour again, do this whole thing again? Are you doing it worldwide again, this tour?
Well, it's probably too complicated to explain in the time that we have. But the original ELO doesn't really exist now. It stopped existing and turned into ELO Part 2, and so ELO, there's a gap between ELO and ELO Part 2, but then since then it has been almost constantly there has been a band that came out of ELO touring the world, different parts of the world, almost for the last 20 years, but not necessarily on a very high profile sometimes, but and certainly I know we came in with ELO Part 2, we came to Johannesburg in about 1995 or so, but just for one concert, so there wasn't a big thing. So it has been fairly continuous, but now I think with this project, no one is. We decided to focus on these greatest hits because no one has really done that completely for a while. So
I know this must be a difficult question to answer, but if you can say of all your hits, your favorite one to perform on stage with the energy, what would you say would be one of your all-time?
For me, it's the song "Mr. Blue Sky," but that's not necessarily the biggest hit, or it's not necessarily the one that has the most energy, but that's my favourite. But usually the rock and roll songs, with the Rock and Roll is King, or the Don't Bring Me Down, which was the biggest hit I think that ELO had, they're always very good to play because the audience, we get a lot of energy back from the audience because they respond to those songs.
And you're doing two performances now, one indoor, one outdoor. This is more theatre style show you're doing now. Do you find it different doing an outdoor show than an indoor kind of show, or do you keep it uniform and same, or you don't actually find the difference between a kind of shows?
There is a difference in the audience usually. I mean, in theatres, I'm not sure about here because it's quite big, but in smaller theatres sometimes the audiences feel a little bit self-conscious about making too much noise, so because it's small and it's a theatre and you don't behave like that in a theatre, so it takes some time to encourage them,
get them loose.
But then outdoor audiences are different. They've been drinking and so they're more loose anyway, but what we do is basically the same thing, and we try to. We're very conscious that a lot of our audience is older now, like the band is, and so they're not going to be really 100% from the first song. We have to build slowly.
Get the momentum going.
That's it.
Before you get in. One last question we always ask this: if you can give advice to upcoming bands and singers, what would your best advice be? I know lots of people say sing, go to not clubs, pubs, perform a lot, get experience.
Yeah, definitely live performing is a really big thing. The difficulty in answering the question, I suppose, is that the music industry is so different now from how it was when I started, or even 10 years ago. It's different. Certainly in the UK and in Europe and US. I don't know how it is here with these programs like X Factor and The Voice, and there are a lot of opportunities for ordinary people that just sing or think sing in clubs or something to get to be famous. So
all ages as well.
Yeah, so it has changed a bit, but I think really the big thing is, we've had a lot of these bands and artists come through recording situations, and then when they get into a live situation, you find that maybe the technology has helped them a little bit too much in the studio, and so it's not so good live, And I don't think there's any substitute for getting out and learning how to be on stage and learning how to sing and perform on stage. The recording side, of course, is important, but the bottom of it all is just to. I think you should do this not for the fame or for the money, but for the love of it, and
the
I think
passion of music.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing to everything, because a lot of people are doing it because they think they can. They're famous for 15 minutes and make a lot of money and
Buy my Ferrari.
yeah. So that's what I would do.
Dit is Phil Bates van Emperor's Palace net voor sy vertoning. Vanaand het hy vertoning by Emperor's en ook môre 'n sold out vertoning hierso, en dan is hy in Kaapstad. Thank you Phil for your time.
It's been a pleasure.